Hello, welcome to Microsoft Azure Training Series. My name is Neeraj. I'm an enterprise architect and Microsoft Certified Azure Administrator Associate, and I will be your instructor for this course.
Hello everyone, welcome to my course on understanding Microsoft Azure Storage. This is part 1 of the Azure Storage series where we will build our understanding on Azure Storage and will also learn about the different storage data services and the types of Azure Storage. Last but not the least, we will also touch base on securing storage accounts. In the second part, we will continue with our demo on creating and utilizing the Azure Storage. Let's get started. As the name suggests, Microsoft Azure Storage is a cloud storage solution from Microsoft. It provides a highly scalable storage solution for objects, file system, messaging, and tables, which is non-relational. Azure Storage is highly available and durable. Azure Storage ensures that customers' data is safe and available in the events of hardware failures or even natural disasters. Azure provides an option for the data replication across data centers or geographical regions for added protection. Data, therefore, still remains highly available. The second part is the security. Azure Storage provides high security by data encryption and also provides a fine-grained control over who has access to your data. The third one is scalability. Azure Storage is designed such as to provide high scalability and performance requirements of your application. Azure Storage can be accessed from anywhere in the world over either HTTP or HTTPS. It can also be accessed using any programming language of your choice using a well-defined, mature REST API. Azure Storage additionally supports scripting in PowerShell and CLI. There are other ways as well to access Azure Storage. One is through the Azure portal and the other one is using the Storage Explorer. Storage Explorer is a Microsoft provided visual tool that can be downloaded onto your local systems, which can be connected to your subscription, and then you can use it to access your storage. We already discussed that the storage accounts provides high availability through redundancy. Azure provides facilities to replicate the copies of the storage account as per the redundancy opted during its creation. There are 4 different replication options, and they are the LRS, which is the locally redundant storage. It is a low-cost replication strategy, and the data is replicated within the same data center. The second one is ZRS, which is the zone redundant storage. Data is replicated synchronously across 3 availability zones in the same region for high availability and durability. The next one is GRS, which is Geo Redundant Storage. In GRS, the data replication happens across different regions. Data cannot be accessed in the GRS though. And the fourth one is RAGRS, which is Read Access Geo Redundant Storage. This is similar to GRS as the data is replicated across regions but with read access. Now let's talk about Azure Storage Data Services. Azure Storage Services provides 4 different kinds of data services, each one being used for specific requirements. They are blobs, files, queues, and tables. For the blobs, this storage data service is designed for handling huge amount of unstructured data and is ideal for images, videos, audios, backup files, log files, archives, and other large files. It can be accessed globally using HTTP or HTTPS, part from Azure portal, and using the REST API, PowerShell, and even from the CLI. Azure Blob Storage offers different access tiers, which allows you to store blob objects data in the most cost-effective manner as per your requirements. They are hot, which is used for most frequently used data where the access cost is the lowest but incur more costs on storage. Then we have the cool tier, where it has a lower storage cost than the hot tier but larger than the archive tier. In this tier, the data will remain for at least 30 days. For example, like short-term backups or large datasets for analysis, while more data is being collected. The last one is the archive tier. This tier has the lowest storage cost but highest access cost. It has the highest data access latency. For accessing the data in the archive tier, we need to change the tier to either hot or cold. This process is termed as rehydration and it takes around 15 hours or so. Let's now discuss about the files. File data service is used to store highly available files accessed using the SMB protocol, which is the server message block. SMB protocol allows multiple VMs to access, read, and write to the files. As with other storage data services, files can be accessed from anywhere in the world over HTTP or HTTPS. Applications using Azure File Storage are easier to migrate to Azure. Since file share can be used from different VMs, common tools and utilities can be stored in the file storage. Third one is the queue. As the name suggests, queues are used to store and retrieve millions of messages, and each message up to a size of 64 KB for asynchronous processing. The last one, table storage data service. This data service from Azure Storage stores structured NoSQL data, which is, you can say, non-relational. With the schema-less design, it is easier to adapt as per requirements. This data service is fast and cost-effective. It may contain any number of tables up to the storage account limit. It can be used to service web applications, and it can evolve along with those applications. It does not need complex queries to be written with joins, foreign keys, or even stored procedures, etc. Azure Table Storage Data Service is now a part of Azure Cosmos DB, which provides throughput, global distribution, and so on and so forth. We should now spend some more time in understanding the Azure Storage Blob data service. There are three types of blobs which you have to specify when you are creating the blobs. They are blobs. These comprise of blocks, as the name suggests. Each block can be of different sizes but a maximum of 100 MB. There can be a maximum of 50,000 block, and the maximum size of the blobs is 4.75 TB. Blobs includes features helping manage large files over the network. Multiple files can be uploaded in parallel in blobs for decreased upload time. Then we have the page blobs. Page blobs are the collection of 512 bytes pages for random read and write process. The maximum size of the page blob is 8 TB and is majorly used to store virtual hard drives, which are the VHDs. The third one is the append blobs. Append blobs have a maximum block size of 4 MB and can store up to 50,000 blocks. The maximum size of the append block is approximately 195 GB. Once the blob has been created, it is not possible to change its type. One feature these blob types exhibit is that the committed changes are reflected immediately. These blobs can be leased for the write access, and the calls to the blob with the current lease ID is only capable to write to the blob. Also, every version of the blob has a unique tag, which is used to write to that blob version. Let us now take a look on the different kind of storage accounts. Each one provides different kind of features with different pricing model. When choosing a storage account kind, we need to compare the features and the pricing for different account types before consideration. I have listed them in the tabular format here, and let us understand them one at a time. First one is the general purpose V2 account. This is the basic storage account type for blobs, files, queues, and tables and is recommended for most scenarios using Azure Storage. The second one is the general purpose V1 accounts. This is similar to the general purpose V2 account and is the legacy account type for blobs, files, queues, and tables. Use the general purpose V2 account instead whenever possible. The third one is the Blob storage account. This storage account type is only available with the premium performance. This is recommended for scenarios with high transaction rates, using smaller objects or requiring consistently low storage latency. The fourth one is the file storage account. This is recommended for enterprise or high performance scale applications. This is in preview and only available when the performance tier is chosen as premium. The fifth one is the Blob storage accounts. The Blob storage account only provides block blobs and the append blobs, and it does not provide the files, queues, and the tables as the name suggests. It is prudent for us to discuss on the security aspects of the storage accounts and how we can protect our data. We can achieve security by implementing authorization and data encryption for Azure Storage. Let's discuss them one by one. The first one is Azure Active Directory integration for Blob and Queue data. We can authenticate and authorize Blob and Queue services with Azure AD credentials using the role-based access control, which is the RBAC. Then we have the Azure AD authorization over SMB for Azure files. We can use the Azure AD ID for accessing Azure files as it uses the identity-based authorization over SMB, which is the server message block through the Azure AD. The third one is the authorization with the shared key. Azure Blob Queue, tables, and files also support authorization with shared key. There are two keys that are created, which are primary and secondary keys, and either of them can be used to have complete access. The request header is signed using that shared access key. The fourth one is the authorization using the shared access signature. A shared access signature, SAS, is a time-bound string containing the security token which is appended to the URI for a storage resource. This gives access to the resource for a limited period of time, after which the access is automatically revoked. The fifth one is the anonymous access, which is there is no authorization or authentication to the containers and blobs. We can also configure blobs and containers to have the anonymous access, which means that no permission is required and anyone can access them. Apart from these, encryption also helps protecting the data to meet organizational security policies. The encryption and decryption happens automatically when the data is written or retrieved. This is termed as the Storage Service Encryption (SSE) at rest, which is present in all tiers, be it standard or premium. Another type of encryption is the client-side encryption. In this, we can programmatically encrypt the data using the storage client libraries. It can encrypt the data before sending and decrypt the data back while the data is read. We have finally come to an end of this module of understanding Microsoft Azure Storage, where we learned about the basics of the Azure Storage, and then we had a look at the Azure Storage Data Services and the types of Azure Storage, which are Azure Storage kinds. Finally, we discussed about securing Azure Storage accounts using authorization authentication and also with encryption. You can download the training material from azuretraining.com or from the slide share. I hope you enjoyed this session. See you in the next module. Keep azuring.